Hey guys, it's Madison. Thanks for joining me in this faithful home. We're going to continue on this pregnancy and miscarriage series that I have here on my channel. So if you are unfamiliar with this series and you just happen to click on this video, I will leave it up here in the cards for you guys. That way you can go watch it. I think I'm at 6 episodes in the series, so I think this is episode number 7 if I am remembering correctly. But today I'm going to be talking about how back-to-back miscarriages has really messed with my mind. And hopefully I can relate to you out there if you are a woman who has experienced a miscarriage, a loss. I understand what you're going through and I want to be able to relate to you and talk about what I'm going through. That way, I don't know, like it validates, that's the wrong word, but like it'll validate what you're feeling. So that way you don't feel alone and isolated. Like there are other women out there going through this too. And I want to be a support and a community and my channel to be able to just love on you and pour into you and let you know that it's hard, it sucks, but you're going to make it through. So if you are new to my channel, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button so you feel welcomed into this faithful home with me. And let's jump on into today's video. All right, so basically back at the beginning of the year, my husband and I were trying for baby number 2. We have at the time I'm filming this, a 15-month-old, but back then she would have been like 9 months or something. And we found out we were pregnant. So I have like the excitement and the joy of finding out I'm pregnant. To then, a week later, I start bleeding. And then I'm like praying that the bleeding stops and that nothing's wrong. Go to an ultrasound that they actually get me in early at the doctor versus when I would normally go to find out that I had miscarried. That miscarriage all passed naturally, so they gave me the green light to try again whenever we wanted to. We got pregnant immediately, so I didn't have any cycles in between. We were over the moon. I was so excited. This was going to be our rainbow baby. I'm praying that I don't see any bleeding because of what I went through with that first miscarriage. Everything's going great. I get to 11 weeks. I'm praying for an awesome ultrasound that I'm about to go to. I get to my ultrasound appointment and basically it's an empty screen. And they discover that I was going through a missed miscarriage, meaning my body still thinks I'm pregnant, but the baby has already died. The doctor then gives me 2 weeks. He says, hey, in 2 weeks, if you haven't passed the baby naturally and everything that goes with it, then we'll have to go do like a procedure. So then I'm praying for myself to start bleeding after I'd been praying to not see blood. So that was a very challenging time, wanting to see blood after not wanting to see blood, after being pregnant, then not being pregnant, after getting pregnant again, and then losing the second baby. It was a lot. As I'm praying for the bleeding, I think it was like 4 or 5 days later, I start bleeding, which was great. I was really excited to see the blood. And then I started hemorrhaging. And then I had to go to the ER because I was bleeding out and I almost died. So then after a procedure at the ER, I'm praying for no more bleeding because I'm tired of bleeding and I want this to be done. I want the miscarriage to have completed and I want to move on. And then I keep bleeding and I keep bleeding and I go to the doctor and I do a follow-up and I get another procedure done and I am again praying for no more bleeding. So at this doctor's appointment, she told me that I need to wait 2 weeks and in 2 weeks I need to take a pregnancy test, and if it shows negative, then I'm good. Everything is out of my system, but if it shows positive, then I need to call them. So then I'm praying for a negative pregnancy test. After wanting and hoping and praying for a baby and wanting those 2 blinds, I'm now praying for a negative test. And I take a test and it's positive. And I'm like, no, I don't want this. I want it to be negative. So then I wait a day just to make sure because it was like the 2 lines and not the like digital one. And then the next day I take 2 more and they both show 2 lines, like I'm still pregnant. So I call the doctor and she said, well, you were farther along. You were 11 weeks when you miscarried. So give it another week. If in another week it's still showing positive, you'll need to come in. We'll have to do another procedure. But if not, you're good. So then I have to wait another week and I'm praying for a negative test, which is a lot. And finally, after that week, I take another test. It's negative. Boom. Awesome. Now this miscarriage is done. And it's surreal because I was excited to see a negative test when I had been praying and dreaming about a positive test for so long. And I'm praying for bleeding, and I'm praying for not bleeding, and I'm praying for a positive test, I'm praying for a negative test, and I'm praying for the baby, and then I'm praying for my heart to accept the fact that I have miscarried, and I've lost my baby, and then I lost a second baby, and I have 2 babies up in heaven now that one day I'll get to meet, but I don't have them here with me. And it's been a roller coaster of emotions over the past 6 months, on top of the fact that I had pregnancy hormones running through me because I was pregnant twice and still breastfeeding my baby. It's a lot, guys. That is basically the last 6 months in a nutshell. And I say all of this not to like have a pity party for myself, but I say this to hopefully reach out to some woman that I can relate to what you're going through. Because if you're going through a miscarriage, you probably feel alone and you feel like nobody around you knows the feeling, because a lot of women don't talk about their miscarriages. Even though the statistic is really high, it's 1 in 4, and I really think it's even more than that because of the amount of women that either didn't know that they were pregnant because it was really early or just don't want to talk about it. And so there are a lot of women out there that are suffering in silence, and I want to be that voice to say that you are not alone in what you're experiencing. Your emotions are valid, your feelings, your everything that you're processing. I've had a lot of time to process through the miscarriages. I feel like I have worked through them. I've been able to talk to women at the church, women in my life, mentors. I've been able to relate to them because they have shared that they've gone through the same thing as me, and I didn't feel alone in that moment. I also want to encourage you that grief is normal, but grief doesn't look one specific way. There are days where I'll be bawling my eyes out crying because I am sad of the fact that I miscarried my babies. And then there will be days when I'm very analytic and it's like, this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and that's what happened. Like filming this video, it kind of feels more like a XYZ, this is how we got from point A to point Z, and you know what I mean? And there are days when I'm just so happy and joyful and God is good and my life just feels right and everything feels so in harmony. And all of those are valid and normal emotions. So if you feel like it's scary to move on or it's scary to be happy, it's okay, that's normal, because you do have to move on to some degree. I hold these babies in my heart and I know that they're in heaven and I know that I will get to be reunited with them one day, and I have to rest in that and give it to the Lord or else I really can't move forward. But also I am moving forward. I am raising my daughter. She is 15 months old right now. I am married to the love of my life. We have this beautiful family that we are so very blessed with. But I also have those 2 babies in my heart. And it's not that I've forgotten about them and I'm happy and I've moved on and they're a thing of the past, because they're still part of my story. But my story doesn't end there. My story continues, and so does yours. And I want you to know that there is no set time or emotion or steps that you need to go through to process your grief, because everybody's grieving process is different. But I want you to know that you're not alone in that process, because there are other women out there who have gone through it too. And there's probably a lot more that you know than you really think, because a lot of women just don't want to talk about it. And because of that, that's why I'm making this video. That's why I made this series on my channel talking about the miscarriages, because I want you to not feel alone. I want to encourage you and love on you and support you. And if you need to talk to me, you can DM me over on Instagram, or you can comment on posts here, and I want to have those authentic conversations with you because I had that and it was so helpful in my healing process. Grief is hard, loss is hard. Going through the miscarriages has not been easy, but you're not alone, and there are other women out there that want to love and pour into you and support you through this process. So if you need to talk, reach out to me or reach out to a woman in your life who you know has gone through it, and I'm praying for you, and I hope that you will be able to grieve and process in your own timing, whatever that looks like for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with a mom who has either gone through a miscarriage or is currently going through one, as a way to encourage her, because I know that would help me if I got this video from someone else. So thank you. If you're new to my channel, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button so you feel welcomed into this faithful home with me, and I will check back with you guys next week for another video. Bye guys.